almost a full week to accept the fact that our president-elect is Donald J. Trump. Let's see how much is sunk in for this gentleman. Please welcome back the fabulous and always fun Senator Bernie Sanders. You heard the song that DJ Lena was playing for you. It was Disco Inferno. Now, let me ask you, just straight up, what happened? What happened? Yeah.
All right, here's what happened.
Okay.
Do we have racists and sexists in this country? We do. Mm. On the other hand, I think what happened is Trump touched a nerve on the part of millions of people that media doesn't often talk about. And that is, you got a middle class for the last 40 years that has been shrinking. You got people who are working 2 or 3 jobs. You got a single mom who can't afford $12,000 a year for childcare. You got a worker who's seen his job go to China. You got a parent who's wondering, how in God's name, but I make $40,000 a year, am I going to be able to send my kid to college? You got a 60-year-old worker today who has $500 in the bank and is facing retirement. Yeah. You got millions of people living in extraordinary economic anxiety, and meanwhile, the very richest people and largest corporations are doing phenomenally well. And people are saying all over this country, black and white and Latino, what about me? Who's going to stand up for me? And in my view, the Democratic Party has not been as strong as it should be in saying, yeah, we're going to stand with the working people.
Well, you did.
I did.
Okay.
Something. So if you were the candidate, they say you would have won. I've been reading about that.
The answer is who knows and who will ever know. But the point is we got to talk about the future and how we go forward. And there are a couple of things on my mind. Number one, when Mr. Trump says that he's going to be for the working class, you know what? We're going to hold him accountable. We're going to list all the things that he said. You want to raise wages? Hey, count me in. We got a starvation minimum wage now of $7.25 an hour. Let's raise it to $15 an hour. You with me, Mr.? You know, women are making 79 cents on the dollar. Anyone think that that is just in the year 2016? Pay equity for women workers. All right, our infrastructure, our roads and our bridges, and this is something Trump has been talking about. Let's work together. Let's create millions of jobs rebuilding our water systems, our wastewater plants, our rail system, all right? Trade, all right? Trump has a fair point, something I've been saying for a long time. Workers all over this country are seeing their jobs going to China and Mexico. Their wages have gone down significantly. Let's create a trade policy that gets corporate America to start investing in this country, all right? Now, what about the cost of prescription drugs? Why do we pay the highest prices in the world for the medicine that we need, while the pharmaceutical industry is making huge profits? Now, Mr. Trump talked about it. We're going to hold him accountable. Are you prepared to take on the pharmaceutical industry? Are you prepared to take on Wall Street, whose greed has done so much harm to our country? So here's the point. That's number one. Number two, what we will not accept. This country has struggled too many years in the fight against discrimination and the fight against bigotry and sexism, all right? We are not going to accept a president trying to divide us up. We got little girls who are wearing kerchiefs who are now scared to death that somebody is going to be picking on.
Terrible.
Or like, our enemies are not some Latino guy, some Mexican-American working in a tomato field making $9 an hour. Those are not our enemies. And I don't want millions of people to be worried today about families being separated. I've seen too much of that. So we're going to fight against sexism and racism and xenophobia.
Okay, which brings me to my question, because a lot of people are out there protesting right now.
Yeah.
What is it that we can do to make sure that we keep his feet to the fire?
What we should understand is that the views that many of us have expressed are the views of the vast majority of the American people. Mr. Trump was very proud during his campaign to say, hey, I'm a multi-billionaire, but I don't have to pay any taxes because you're paying taxes.
Right.
Well, you know what? Most Americans don't think that it's right that billionaires and large corporations don't pay a nickel in federal taxes. All right? So we are the majority in our ideas. Now, why the Democratic Party has failed is another story we can deal with. I want basic reforms in the Democratic Party. But most importantly, we've got to hold them accountable. And the third issue I want to touch on. I hope very much, Donald Trump is nobody's fool. And during the campaign, he talks about climate change being a hoax. Yeah. You know what? Climate change is not a hoax. It is a threat to this entire planet. He better start listening to the scientific communities and not just the coal companies.
And if he doesn't,
If he doesn't, you're not going to have much of a planet left for your grandchildren.
I know that. We're worried a lot about that.
And I think, you talk about people in the streets. I think when millions of people, led by the young people, who want to transform this country, say, sorry, Mr. Trump, I want this planet to be healthy and habitable for my children and my grandchildren, and that is more important than the short-term profits of the oil industry. I think we can stop them in that area.
Bernie Sanders sticking around. So we'll be right back. Senator Bernie Sanders.
Welcome back. I have a question for you. Senator Sanders.
Happy birthday, young lady.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Trump ran as an outsider candidate, but he just appointed the ultimate insider, the head of the RNC, as his chief of staff, and also announced that he's bringing in Steve Bannon, who's highly controversial for the alt-right movement, as his chief strategist. What should these appointments tell us?
Well, I think you're right. Mr. Priebus is a conservative, well-experienced former chair of the Republican Party. I think the other appointment should get us very nervous.
Yeah.
Our job, look, all of you know that we have struggled with discrimination and racism and sexism and homophobia for hundreds of years, right? It's the history of this country.
Yeah.
What we did to the Native Americans is atrocious. Hopefully, we have made some progress in making this country a less discriminatory society. And I will be damned if we're going to go backwards and try dividing this country up again. We're going to bring our people together. We're not going backwards. And we're going to tell Mr. Bannon and any other advisors, this country is not, we're not going to be turning on each other. We're going to be standing together in the wealthiest country in the history of the world to fight for a society and a government that works for all.
They have won 3 branches of government, right. And the Supreme Court will be conservative. What exact power does the left have anymore?
I don't call it the left. I call it the vast majority of the people.
Okay.
Overwhelmingly,
Right.
Look, if you look at issue by issue,
Yeah.
okay, vast majority of the American people want to raise the minimum wage to a living wage. Vast majority of the people know there's something wrong, and we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a right. You all know that? We're the only major country on earth. You got 28 million people, no health insurance. Many of you cannot afford health insurance because your deductibles and your co-payments are too high. We're the only country on earth. We pay more per capita.
Yes.
Drug companies are ripping us off. We have more income and wealth inequality. Rich get rich, almost everybody else gets poor. Most people don't think that that's good. And one of the reasons...
And yet,
They voted.
they voted for a man
Yeah.
who is part of the problem.
Yes. And then the question then is, where was the Democratic Party? Has the Democratic Party been doing its job in telling working people in Iowa and in New York and in Wyoming, we're going to stand with you. We have the guts to take on Wall Street. We have the guts to take on the insurance companies and the drug companies and the fossil fuel companies. I don't think most people believe the Democratic Party has done that.
We've been talking a lot about why Hillary Clinton lost, and I think she lost because she didn't have a spokesperson like you for the cause. I said from the beginning, I'm a libertarian, I'm a center-right girl, but you need a spokesperson for the cause, and I said she should have stuck you on the ticket. That would have been the victory. That would have got those voters out. That would have got those millennials out. But I want to ask you a quick question to follow up on that. This weekend, Hillary Clinton she's basically been blaming FBI Director Comey for coming out and making the statements he made that weren't justified and saying that tilted the election. I argue that the fault lied with her and her inability to do outreach to the communities that were listening and waiting for her to do so. Where does the blame fall, in your opinion?
Well, you could look at politics in many, many ways. I think what the FBI did was unacceptable. They got involved in a presidential election in an unprecedented way, and I think that's wrong. I think that hurt Clinton. But I think your point is more to the point. It's not just one instance. You know, I like Hillary Clinton, and I knock my brains out to get her elected. But I think it is fair to say that the working class of this country did not believe that she was prepared to stand up and fight for them.
Even if she was. Even if
her policies were.
Even if she see, it's about what you say nowadays. It's not about what you do, because beat by beat, there's no question of what she has done, the service she's done for this country. And I get that people are upset and but a lot of disenfranchised people have been in this country for many, many years, and I don't recall any of them saying, oh, you know whose fault it is? It's them. And they're the murderers and the rapists. Oh, no, it's them. They're the folks that should be. This is a new thing. This is brand new.
And we will not accept that for 1 second.
Bernie,
we cannot accept that for 1 second.
Tell us about your new book, Our Revolution.
Well, the book does two things. You know, when I began the campaign, we were considered to be a fringe candidate. Nobody knew who I was. And we were taking on the entire political establishment and the media establishment and everybody else. And at the end of the campaign, we ended up winning 22 states, getting 14 million votes, and winning the vast majority of young people. So we came a long way in the campaign, and the book talks about that. But the second thing, the second half of the book says, you know what? As Americans, we're going to have to sit down and do a lot of studying. We're going to have to answer some questions. And these are not 5-second sound bites. Why is the middle class declining for 40 years? Is it morally acceptable that the top 0.1% now owns as much wealth as the bottom 90%? Why are we the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people? Why do we have more people in jail, disproportionately African American, Latino, and Native American, than any other country on earth?
Why?
How do you address climate change?
Yeah. You know how we do that? We get the book. We get the book. Senator Bernie Sanders, thank you. His new book, Revolution, A Future to Believe In, is on sale tomorrow everywhere where books are sold. And of course, we will be right back.